Alrighty-o. So it is, what is it? May 9th of 2024. I'm going to do a little video. Why not? I'm in my favorite place. Right here. What am I doing? Well, I bought this on sale. I was a big spender. I only bought one. One of this kind anyway. From Walmart, right? You know how I like to shop, right? Well, those days are pretty much done. I have tons of spices, but this, I thought, for $6, why not, right? I think I saved $3 on the container. And it's, what is it? Oh, my Lord. Steak. For steak. All right. And then I thought I'd be a big spender again and buy the one for chicken. Chicken and ribs. Do you see? So, I'm not going to leave them in these containers. I'm going to jar them up and perhaps even try and vacuum seal them. And then I'm going to put, well, that will get me probably two full pints anyway. Probably 2 full pints anyway. So, for sure, one of these are going away in long-term food storage with the rest of my spices. I have them in different places in the house. I will probably never need them, but I'm a knucklehead. You know, I'm always thinking about my kids, right? So we'll get to that in a minute, right? All right. And then I decided I want, because I'm pretty soon I'm going to be cooking in here, and, well, I can still see, right? And, you know, I want some different kind of food. So I decided that I want to make, what is that called? Jamaican patties. Yeah. So I had to buy jerk spice for that. To which, I had to order it off of Amazon. Because Walmart didn't have any. I don't know about Canadian Superstore, but either or. I got this one here. And I'm repackaging this into jars as well. I don't necessarily leave. I have a few like this in the original, but the more you can put things in jars, preferably vacuum seal, but at least put them in jars, the better it is. Doesn't matter what it is. And that includes spices. I know that for a fact. You put them in a jar, it can sit like that for years. Cool, dark place. Never been opened. When you open it, boy oh boy. Just as good as it was when you put it in. For the most part. Depending on what the peppers, maybe, you know, like a little green pepper, red pepper. No, not so much. They can't really stand the test of time. But anyway. This one, Andre, please. This is an assortment jerk. Don't ask me what it tastes like, because I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to like jerk spice. And this one is a cool running jerk seasoning powder. So I got that base covered. I want to taste it, because I don't even know if I'm going to like it. Right. So I kind of wanted to talk about my unhappy adult children. The ones that are still alive. At least Tisha and Marcaine. Because they're like on my mind, right? A lot. But they're unhappy. They're unhappy with the economy. Okay. And then I take a pinch. Well, it definitely has different flavors. My nose will start to run. And now we're going to try this one, and then we're going to see which one I like better. I'm rejarring these. I'm not going to leave them long term in these things. No. This one appears to be more red than the other one. It's a little stronger, but I don't know. I guess that's what jerk spice tastes like. I can't say it's my favorite spice. Oh my Lord. And then we're going to taste this one. The chicken rib. What I mean by my kids not being happy is they're like more stuck in the past than I am when it comes to moving forward in life. Outside of my son is trying to become financially quote-unquote literate. He says we're a family of being financially illiterate because I hold no assets. Well, I wonder why. I was molded into that manufactured poverty at a very young age, right? And then because I was locked into that manufactured poverty, I worked on a foundation that technically didn't make me any money, because it didn't. If anything, it put me in debt $50,000 and more. I just didn't claim everything because what was the point? And I never, didn't take long to figure out I wasn't getting my money back. But whatever. There's life, right? Andre, we know Andre struggles with school, right? And every now and then, it becomes a great kerfuffle because people feel insecure, right? Because, in this day and age, you have to be able to make $3,000 up to $5,000 per month income just to be able to support yourself, where you can have a decent housing situation with a decent amount of food and be able to meet your bills. And that's for yourself as an individual or as a very small family. And realistically, Andre will probably not make that kind of money going to work at a service job, like like working in a warehouse or working at Walmart or something like that. And that's assuming that he'd even get hired, because he's not the preferred Canadian anymore, people. Because the country is being taken over by immigrants, and the precedence is to look after them first, basically, even if they can't read or write or even speak in English for that matter. It's funny how they can't read it, an immigrant that is, no one in specific, right? They can't read English, they can't write English, they can't speak English, but they get the support. Financially, they get the housing, network, whatever. They get put into employment positions when it's feasible. Whereas if Andre goes and makes an application for a job, Tisha was saying even in a warehouse, he's got to have grade 12. Moving boxes. Hold on a minute. We knew that was going to happen. Oh my Lord, here it comes. Oh, try this again. Okay, so anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so, with the learning disability, right? I mean, obviously, that's a monkey wrench in being financially successful, where you're not an embarrassment to your family because, you're working at McDonald's for minimum wage and you can't find affordable housing because there is nothing affordable anymore, right? Because you're locked into that manufactured poverty, basically, as you're being pushed out by the newcomers that are coming into the country, not to mention quite possibly being targeted for body parts, people, and that's just the reality of it. So, Marcane is worried that, not so much Marcane, but Tisha really is like, oh, you need to go to school and, you gotta make at least $3,000 a month when you're 19 to be able to support yourself. Well, first of all, nobody expected that from you. And if you had to, if she really had to, she could still be living at home. I'm just, right? Look at Marcane. He's 33 years old. He has not left the nest yet, people. Right? I've been covering the rent for a long, 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 long time. It's kind of why my debt load stays high. Right? And then I top it off with the food prep or whatever. Okay. Anyway, Marcane is now in this mode where, like, he's starting his own company. Apparently he's successful at getting everything ducks in order, I's dotted, T's crossed. I guess it's registered. He told me he got his insurance. It costed him $1,500. $1,500 for a year, I think. Yeah, $1,500 for insurance for his company because, he's going to be in the tree cutting business, right? And, his goal is to make as much money as he possibly can for as long as he can so that he can be, quote-unquote, financially literate. Own assets, do that hard work by investing into capital, which would be equipment, right? And I would suspect as Andre gets bigger, at some point, he may attempt to take Andre out on the job site and start him off with a few little things, see how he responds. Maybe Andre might like it, end up doing something out in the bush, who knows? Or maybe he won't. Doesn't mean that, right? But the thing is, we have Amari with those special circumstances, people. And we have me with those special circumstances, people. Right? And, but mainly Amari. Somebody has to be with him all the time. Now, I don't mind going blind and being with Amari basically 24/7, because I'm pretty much doing that right now as it is. And instead of being here every day doing something, I'd be at the piano doing something, or maybe playing the guitar, right? Or maybe I'll be having some high-powered magnifying glass, really high power, making something, looking through the, right, with just my one or two little octave nerves that I got left, and I'm creating something. Who knows? Anything could happen. But, I mean, I'm going to need help looking after Amari in that situation. Right? Amari and I are going to keep each other company. So where does that leave us? Right? So, okay. I'm the adult. I'm supposed to make preparations, right? Things are changing. I don't want just everything to come crashing down, and then everybody running around like a chicken without their head on, not knowing what to do. So I'm like, I keep putting out ideas. So yesterday was yesterday. I had little Kyrie for a little while. Letitia had something to do. She came back. They were running around outside, the kids. I said to Tisha, at the end of the year, end of the year, right? Because, I got yard work and the porch and just whatever, right? I said, but at the end of the year, I said, I'd like us to go looking at houses, just for the sake of looking at different houses. In other words, I want to move. And I want us to start looking at different houses to see what is available. Well, that was it. As soon as I said that, she knew in what direction I was going in, because I've already said to her, I think it would be a good idea if you and I shared a house where it was basically, almost two separate independent suites, right? Where she can just close the door and, right? And I got my space and she's got her space, right? With her family. And I told her, I said, like me, what do I need, people? I need a big rumpus room with a bathroom close by, a piano in my rumpus room, with a keyboard so that when Alea May comes by, I can pluck a note and she can I'll pluck the note on the piano and she can pluck the note on the keyboard. Or maybe we'll switch it around and I'll teach her how to play piano. It won't be long before she'll be teaching herself and I'll still be plucking. All right. Take the children's stuff, like whatever I've got kid-wise, crafts, whatever. Just line them up against the wall. I don't care. I can't see it anyway. But at least it's not, being chucked out or thrown out or whatever. Like, it's here. Use it. Use it. Some of this stuff, you can't find it anymore. And why buy if you already have? So what do I care if there's a wall unit full of that kid stuff, right? Or cookbooks, records, that kind of stuff. I don't. Because I can't see it. Hey, quiet. I can't see it. I won't be able to see it. So, right? And then, you get the nice kitchen. Anything you want that I have, well, you don't have to go out and buy it. You just have to pack it up and move it to your brand new kitchen, which trust me, it will be bigger and better than this kitchen. Not that but this kitchen has been this whole house has been a very hard house to live in, people. And personally, I'm getting freaking tired of it. And, it's hard for me because of the eyes. And like, I'm that old workhorse. You can only work a workhorse for so long until it gives out, right? Mari's getting bigger. There's too much laundry. It's you're dealing with body fluids and stuff, and you need to have a proper laundry room where you can, and not one with wood chips in it, because you'd have to remember my son's a woodcutter, right? So he comes home with sawdust all over himself. He washes, he throws it in the dryer, you go to clean the lint thing and it's full of freaking sawdust, and then it gets up through the vents and the furnace sucks it up, right? And before you know it, it's spewing around up here. Very, very dusty, right? And gritty and just whatever. It's an old house, right? And, I've got my wash machine right there and I'm hanging clothes all over the place. Right? How long do you think I'm going to be able to do that? Especially if my eyesight gets worse and worse and worse and worse. All right. So, but she's scared. She's scared to go into higher rent. More than anything. Really, I do believe that. I don't think it's that she doesn't want to look after me and Amari. It's the fact that she's locked into the past with the lower rent, living in an apartment. And doesn't want to end up paying $700 more than what she's paying right now, not including what I would pay to have a different house. A better house that works better for what's coming. I mean, that's the responsible thing to do, for crying out loud. But my kids are so freaking damaged. And they're influenced by negative forces through the cell phone and subliminal messaging and social engineering and predictive programming and just a whole lot of mind boobery with what our governments are doing to people. Right? So, with that, you know, it turned into a great big fight. And of course it shifted on to Andre not going to school and going to be an embarrassment because he won't be able to make $3,000 a month at least to be able to support himself. And all I said was, let's go look at some houses at the end of the year to see what's available so that we have something to at least think about, you know, right? Like, I'm not trying to scare my kids here, people. Oh, your mother's going blind. You do realize that, don't you? I say to Andre, I said, I think you're the only one who really fully understands what's going on with my eyes. Because I'll walk into the living room, and you know it's not a very big space, people, right? And I'm looking around. And I'm like, where are you, Andre? I don't, you know, like, you're in here, right? I'm thinking he's in there, right? And I'm looking around, and I'm like, well, where are you? He goes, I'm down here Amar. I'm down here, Nana, laying on the floor, right? Because, you know, he plays his Nintendo, and Amari likes to hang off the couch and play with Andre's hair or whatever, right? You know, they got their own little system going on, right? Amari plays with your hair, right? Yeah. Yeah, right?
He used to.
Huh?
He used to.
What?
He doesn't now.
He doesn't now?
Yeah.
Why?
I told him not to.
Oh, yeah? Oh, he listens to you, does he?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And well, but he's always hanging off the edge there with you.
Yes.
Yeah, right? Andre makes sure that he doesn't fall off and gives Amari time to hang off the edge and just, you know, be free, right? You know, he's safe, right? So I'm looking, you know, I'm like, well, huh?
There's a package at the door.
I'm looking, and I'm like, well, where are you? He goes, I'm down here, Nana. And I'm looking, and I'm like, oh. Or Andre will come, and he'll hand me something. You know, depending on the lighting and where we're sitting and what's going on, right? And I'm like, I can't see. I like, you know, so he has to kind of put it in my hand, right? What was it?
Okay.
Okay. So with that, you know, Andre knows I'm not faking. He knows it. Where Markane and Tisha, because I'm filling up jars with jerk spice, doing dishes, doing laundry, doing whatever, I'm bagging up with oxygen absorbers and Mylar bags currently at this point. The rye kernels, 2 big bags. And it was like 44 pounds a bag. Great white northern beans. I bought 25 pounds. This stuff has been sitting here for like 2 months. That's when my son came, well, maybe a month and a half. That's when my son came to the window and was gooning on about Armageddon. I told you that story, right? And he was all freaked out, and I told him, calm down, you know? Just like he, and you know, and I'm saying like, well, so what, you want me to get more? He goes, yeah, I'll take anything I can get. So what did I do? I went off and spent $750 freaking dollars as my last top off. For what I've been doing all these years. I had absolutely no plans to buy it because I'm getting ragged for it, right? You told me you were going to stop. Now he's at the window saying, well, I'll take anything I can get. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm not in the mood to be buying anymore because I've got other things I want to do now. Like catch up, whatever, right? So that I can move, right? Could bring down my debt a little bit so I can move. Probably have to pay higher rent. I don't know. Like, our government has screwed us over, people. My son doesn't want to move because he can't afford higher rent. Tisha doesn't want to move because she can't afford higher rent. I want to move even though I can't afford higher rent simply because this house is not conducive for Amari's needs soon. How long, I don't know. Or my needs. For how long, I don't know. In other words, Amari's going to get bigger. It's going to get more complicated. I can't keep doing fucking laundry up here and 3 years from now, blind as a bat. That's not going to happen. Who's going to do the laundry? My son says, oh, well, you know, when it gets to that point, you can't see that well. Well, you know, even though I'm mad at you and, you know, you told me you hated me and I've got it on my cell phone and I'm holding a grudge because you reminded me I like to hold grudges. Yeah, you do, Markane. As if you'd never fucking sat up there and said you didn't hate me. Everything that you were doing clearly showed me that you did. Right? So if you're throwing my shit out, screaming and hollering at me, bouncing around, scaring the pants off me, right, got me on the run, chasing me, right, you don't know how to disconnect, obviously at some point I'm going to break down and say, fuck off, motherfucker, I fucking hate you, like, get the fuck away from me. Sorry, boo-boo, away from me. Whose fault is that? Well, obviously yours, because you weren't controlling yourself like a normal adult would. And considering my situation and my responsibilities, I would think you would be more sensitive around that situation versus thinking about yourself, going on about some, like, a 5-year-old having a tantrum that mommy's not doing enough for you. And that was after I went off and spent another $750 because he came scratching at the window saying, oh yeah, Armageddon, you know, the world's going to go to pot and, you know, blah, 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 and the world is heating up and, you know, there's supply chain issues and, you know, people are going to start going crazy and, you know, and I'm like, holy shit, don't you know, you're talking worse than, well, I mean, I hear this stuff all the time on different channels, videos that I watch, right? And I mean, it's not that, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure it out that something bad is going on by that manufactured poverty through design to convince people to get rid of their stuff. Only some people are expected to get rid of their stuff and own nothing and be happy. And the best way to be happy is to sign up with the Canadian federal government with their maid-assisted, you know, program to take yourself out of the equation so that you're not a financial burden to those who don't got no time except for, I don't know, what? Go make $5,000 a month so that you can maybe afford to rent something, even though you got monster home after monster home after monster home after monster home after freaking monster home, block after block, freaking district after district, full of people. But they're not your kind of people. And even if you live in one of those monster homes, and you're not those kind of people, that doesn't mean you're safe. Chances are you'll be targeted for what you got. Yeah. So I don't know where my son thinks he's going to take all this money that he's going to make and be safe. He hasn't even made the money yet. But that's his sole mission in life. Because he doesn't want to be left behind with nothing and be happy. Okay. So what does that mean for me? I asked him. I just spoke to him about it, right? I said, you know, this is serious what I'm dealing with here, right? Fighting with Tisha over Andre. Andre goes to school, doesn't meet her expectations, can't make $3,000 a month, and then he what? Becomes an embarrassment? Come on. people. Let's be realistic here. I told her, no, he's going to look after me, and, he might. I never said he is. I said, there's a possibility he'll look after me and Amari. Being that you don't want to do it, being that my son doesn't necessarily want to do it, and if he does, he's going to do it with a grudge, because he's got his little recording with his mom saying, I hate you. Well, I wonder why. You're destroying all my shit. I spend thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and freaking thousands of dollars so that you have food after I'm dead? Knowing what I think I knew, and now you come and confirm to me that what I think I knew is probably true, and that you think I now made the right decision, but you're still going to talk to me like trash? Well, you treat me like I'm your subordinate. I said, subordinate? What's that supposed to mean? I'm his parent. Only I'm not trying to parent him. It's just, it's so stupid. So he's like, well, we can just clear out everything up here, make it so that you can exercise, because that's the most important thing when you go blind. You want to keep moving around. I'm like, holy shit. He wants me to stay here. And I'm trying to tell him this won't work. Even if you clear it out, it won't work. It's a hard house to live in. Period. It wore me out a long time ago. So I'd like to get to the next destination, wherever I'm going to go, as safely as I can. And it would be great if my 2 remaining kids, because Brooks won't be able to do it, no, at least one of them could be sympathetic towards the situation, the special circumstances, where instead of seeing Amari and me, because that's basically the problem here, as the burden, just see it as a fact of life, and ride the winds. Don't think of it as a storm. Just ride the winds. If you're riding the winds, you're flying, people. If you're flying, you're having fun. It doesn't matter. Your heart might, right? And because the wind catches you and all of a sudden you're like, right? But, you get your grounding and then you just fly over the mountains and, just fly. I've been in dreams where I flew above the mountain, just fly through the valley and fly like a free bird. And you'll get through it. God only gives you what you can handle. Right? And it just makes you stronger. But they're locked in with the past. They're afraid to move forward because they feel that they don't have enough money to be successful in any sort of capacity when it comes to, I don't know, self-esteem? Yeah, maybe. Because, anyway, I'm not arguing with Tisha now, even though it was a big kerfuffle and Andre got rude to her and whatever and said, no, leave me alone, right? If I want to look after Nana and Amari, that's what I'm going to do. And, and I'm working with Uncle Mercane with school, and it's working, and it is, people, because Andre is more older now, and, he's more concentrated on wanting to accomplish things with, what he's doing with the Nintendo and hooking in wants this device. And I'm like, you want me to buy another device? Well, why? Well, this is what it does. And I'm like, okay, so I buy that. And then he comes back and he asks me for a capture card because it does something else. I mean, clearly he's figuring this all out on his own. He still struggles with the reading though, right? Okay, whatever. So anyway, so much for spices, right? Because, this is heartbreaking for me, people. I shouldn't have to grovel, beg for assistance. Because I said to my son, well, where are you going to put me? Why do you say it like that? Well, let's just cut to the chase here. What do you plan on doing with me when it just goes blink? Right? What's your plan, son? Considering what you've been doing and how you've been treating me, and then you want to flip it on me and say it's my fault? Fuck no. No. Anyway, not pointing fingers here, but, you know, he thinks just clear everything out so I can just have more room to walk around. And then what? Wait for somebody to come upstairs and do laundry for me at my kitchen sink? Yeah, okay. Like, no. No, maybe I'd like to have a decent fucking laundry room and not worry about it anymore, period. You know, maybe I'm tired of hanging up shit around the house. Huh? You ever thought about that? You know, maybe I want the windows facing south instead of north. That would be nice. You know, maybe I don't want the burden of a yard being held over my head just because somebody wants to kick me out so they can raise the fucking rent and be a part of the problem and not part of the solution when it boils down to that manufactured poverty where only some are entitled to have something while everybody else is expected to get rid of everything, including their freaking lives. Because, you know, Tisha doesn't even want to think about it. So I have to talk to my son, even though he's holding a grudge against me, even though he's the one who provoked me saying what I said. Well, I got it on my cell phone. I said, yeah, well, I probably got it freaking recorded too. You think I'm the first mother to say to their kid, I hate you? Fuck, you're acting like a stupid lunatic, throwing my shit all over the place, getting rid of it. It disappears. I find it in a garbage can if it's not broken. Like, what the hell? Like, who wouldn't get upset? You're chasing me as I'm saying, I'm going this way, you go that way. No, I'm coming. You can't fucking shut up. Like, go away, man. I got bigger things to worry about. You got to worry about money. I got to worry about, I guess you could say, survival. So anyway, at least I'm getting them to think, right? And like Tisha doesn't have to move in with me. Like, I want to go look at houses at the end of the year. I want to go look at houses for a couple, 2-3 months, just to see what's available. I do, people. Maybe I'll never move. Maybe I'll probably die in this house, the way things are going. And it would be, they can do whatever they want, and then they can thank me for having all the food in the house. Because as it is, they I don't know. Oh yeah, so after Tisha was done doing whatever, and I mean, I'm not, saying like, you're gonna end up like your mom and blah blah blah, and being embarrassed to the family. I mean, that hurts his feelings, right, people? And so anyway, I said to Andre, I said, Andre, you're not the first kid to have a learning disability. When Marcane was 5, he could read Bernstein Bears, all of it, people, 101,000 facts. By the time he went into halfway through grade 2, so he was 7, something like that, right? 7.5. He was reading Old English, not like books, thick, like they're about this big, like the Reader Digest, a little bigger than a Reader Digest book, thick like this with fine print. Old English novels with like old English stories and stuff. I mean, that's, by the time he got into school, he was at a college level in reading. Okay? And that's a fact. The teachers didn't like it. They forced him to read Bernstein Bears, even though he had read every book of the Bernstein Bears series at home because I had bought them. He used to read 100, the big books, like, how I have big books, thick like this, 101,000 facts. That's all he did when he was 6 years old. But he wanted to go to school like everybody else. And that's where I made the mistake. I should have kept him home just a little longer and got him into math. He was just coming into math, and by the time he got to school, he started being picked on. And then, the system took him over. And now, I mean, sure, he's writing books now and stuff, but anyway, but the point is, it came easy. It Yeah, it came easy. He was a natural. He was a natural for it. That was his talent. Basically, same thing with Shimei. That was her talent. Not for Sierra. She had a learning disability. Not for Tisha. She found it difficult, right? I guess she's seen the numbers and letters, everything backwards. And, I presented it to her, tried to explain it to her. She was enrolled in grade 2. They wanted to put her on drugs to help her focus, and I said no. I pulled her out, just like I did with Shimei when they slapped her on the face when she was in kindergarten. And, she had the same treatment, I guess you could say, like any of my other kids. But it didn't come easy for her. She's mad, blaming me. It's her fault. You didn't sit me down and beat it in me. Fucking right I didn't beat it in you, because as far as I'm concerned, that would have backfired on me and I would have ended up with another Sierra. And it was enough that what happened to Sierra happened to Sierra. Because it kind of boils down to that manufactured poverty again, right? Yeah. Tisha doesn't see it that way. So with Andre, obviously there's something hereditary in there perhaps. Or it could be the fact that, there's the drug abuse within the first 3 months. Maybe not that. Maybe it's the fact that social services illegally apprehended Andre at a crucial age in his life. He was 28 months old, just coming into his language skills. He was happy, he was comfortable to be where he was at, and then all of a sudden they just ripped him away. And then they started drugging him to calm him down because he wanted, he fought to come home. Eventually he stopped eating, right? He wouldn't talk. They got scared. They basically muscled me in to go see him because, I wasn't seeing him because I didn't want to upset him. Children at that age don't have a concept of time. So I chose not to see him. The kid's seen him. His mother's seen him. But the social workers were playing games, and then they cut everybody off. And I still refused to not see him. And then eventually my lawyer came and said, look, your grandson's not eating, he's not talking, they're getting scared, you need to go see him. And I'm like, yeah, but I've told you why I'm not seeing him. Well, we're going to be dealing with the judge, and if you don't see him, it's going to make you look like you don't care about your grandson. And I'm like, okay, I'll go see him. Andre knew, but he didn't quite remember me. But he knew. And he warmed up to me real fast, people. And he gave all the signs right from the get-go that he wanted to come home with me. So anyway, eventually I got him back. We know that, right? And he came home with tantrums. He never had tantrums before, but he came home with them. So I had to deal with that. And obviously we learned that he had a learning disability, which I'm not surprised. It probably was instigated from multiple areas, not just one anything specific. It was a kind of a compound situation. But he's a good kid. He's attentive to Amari. And he's been working with me for years. I got him to one stage. He worked with, like school, right? He worked with Marcane for years, got him to the next stage. It was a long progression. And then Marina showed up. She worked with him. She got him to the next stage. And he plugging along. And now he's like, Mom, Nana, I want, Joy-Cons. Nana, I want capture card. And I'm like, what the hell is a capture card? What does it do? And, he plugging everything in. He doing it for himself. Well, for a kid that can't read, he's doing pretty damn good because I couldn't do it. Let me just tell you that. Okay? And then, after the fight with Tisha, that is recording, right? Oh, God forbid. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not recording. Oh, it is. I said to Andre, I want you to look up, I said famous people who had a learning disability. There's a guy, I think it was the light bulb, or something to do with, a light bulb turning on, or something. So he Googled, right? And then he came across Albert Einstein. Yeah. He did homeschooling. He was a goofy little boy. Didn't start talking until he was 4. He had a tutor, but he naturally was drawn towards numbers. Just like Marcaine was drawn towards being able to read like a little professor at 6 years old and understand what he was reading. And if you asked him 3 months later what was in that book, an old English book, in terms of the storyline with all those millions of words, he'd tell you. Okay, that's amazing, people. That's probably why I have a little problem with him today, because, the intelligence sometimes gets in the way with things. Same thing with Shimei, right? Anyway, apparently, though, he was kind of like, he didn't care about money. That's for sure. He didn't. He didn't do things for money. He didn't live for money. He didn't base his self-worth on money. He just wanted to bring good things to the world, and, he did different things and kind of stayed true to himself, but, he'd put socks on different colors, and he'd be disheveled, and his hair was like this, and, right, his clothes wouldn't match, and it was nothing fashionable about the guy, right? Where, Tisha's like everything's got to be fashion, right? Where Marcaine is everything's got to be freaking nerdy, even though he's a lumberjack. Like, how does that work? So I said to Andre, like, there you go. Right? Guy didn't fit in. If you picked him out from a crowd, you think you wouldn't be anybody you'd want to hang out with, because he had unmatching socks, clothes that didn't match, his hair was all this, right? But at the end of the day, he did great things. And then he goes on to Abraham Lincoln. Was that Franklin or Lincoln? Who was it? Andre. What was that president? Abraham Lincoln? Yeah, Abraham Lincoln. So now he's, looking up Abraham Lincoln, right? Apparently he did homeschooling. And, lived on the farms and worked with his dad. And, right, there was a couple people that, I guess, in the neighborhood that kind of turned him on to some books. And, he used to say the word over and over and over and over and over. Anyway, he basically kind of taught himself how to read. Long story short, he ended up becoming the president of the United States of America because he became Honest Abe, right? Because, he worked in some general store where somebody overpaid something, and then, he went off and found where that person lived and gave him back his change. And then he got the nickname of Honest Abe, right? Abraham Lincoln, right? And then somehow, some way, he became the president. Well, it turned out he got shot. I said, he got shot? He goes, yeah, he got shot in the head. And I'm like, well, that's kind of odd, because that's what happened to John Kennedy, right? In the 60s, right? He got shot too. I said, I guess Honest Abe, Abraham Lincoln must have been a good guy, really actually cared about the people, wanted to be a good president, and he was taken out, just like with, John Kennedy, right? I said, that's what happens to good people. Unfortunately. So come to British Columbia, Canada. If you're a bad person, committing crimes, doing nasties, and exploiting people and hurting people, you'll do well. You'll prosper. But if you're a good person, to hell with that shit. You won't never measure up. You just won't. And with that pressure is turning my kids into I don't know what. Because, they're stuck. I'm blind, but I'm willing to make plans to move out. How does that work? I'm not afraid. Because I can't be stuck up here wandering a house full of ghosts. There's ghosts in this house. There was ghosts in this house before I moved in. And I got my own family wandering in a ghostly kind of way. Right? I'm not going to live my last years here. Now, don't get me wrong, I ain't rushing out of here anytime soon. But I'd like to look around, and if I could find something where it's affordable for me and one of my kids, wouldn't matter if it was Marcane or Tisha, right? I'd go, because I know what I want. I don't want a big kitchen anymore, people. I used to when I could see better, but not anymore. And if I do want one, it's for whoever's helping me with Amari and keeping an eye on me. Only because I think they deserve it. Yeah. Because I know what it's like to have a big, beautiful kitchen. It's much easier to work in. Right? But I ain't looking for it for me. I probably won't even be able to do anything in it at some point in the future. But I would like a nice big rumpus room where I can do what I want in terms of the piano and, you know, keep Amari company and, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to be able to do. Not much. That's the point. You know. So I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at with things. So it looks like I get one full one anyway. So that's good. So what I do is I just fill up the jar. You can hear me tapping it down. Alright. And then I will vacuum seal these. And these ones are, put a label on it, what it is. And then, put everything away. I'm going to make Jamaican patties here very, very soon. Oh, yeah. I so want. There, look, see? And then try and vacuum seal. When you're getting into your powders and stuff, it's kind of hard. You can put a little something on the inside when it comes to like a coffee liner or something, but I find they don't necessarily work that good either, right? Anyway, I'm going to try and vacuum seal it. But even if it doesn't work very well, you leave it like that in a cool, dark place. It lasts a long, 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 long time. Longer than I will be alive. Let's just put it that way. And I know that for a fact. So I'm going to do another one here. So I told Andre, you're like a little mini Albert Einstein. Right? And you're just looking for new ideas. That's all you're doing. That's okay. You can do that. It's fun, you know, right? You don't know where life is going to take you. My kids, they don't have a sense of humor like that. They don't, they're like, I don't know. We can't call them prudes. They're not prudes, but they're something else. They're kind of like a prude. You know, they lost the joy of living. That's, you know, they really, oh, of course I gave myself static electricity, right? They lost the joy of living. When you lose family members in the manner, the way we lost family members, suspicious death, murder, medical kidnappings, disappearances, poof, all of a sudden. Like, it really does a number on the psyche of human beings. It does, and it destroys a family. It really does, people. And it takes the joy out of life. Yeah. That's why it's so important for children to have a fairly decent childhood and have happiness in their life. Because if they have that to some degree or another, however they get it, I mean, it never really leaves them, right? It helps. That's why I'm helping Lady Jane in Uganda, with these little teeny weeny children. Because their lives are going to be hard, period. No matter how you slice the pie, their lives are going to be hard. But you never know. Out of that batch of children that I'm helping at this point, I guess you could say, we might end up getting another little mini Albert Einstein in there with this little homeschooling chalkboard with his chalk. Or her. Be a girl, or maybe two. Right? You never know. I won't be around to see it. I'll be gone by that time. But at least when I go, I'll be thinking about it to some degree or another. Oh yeah, which reminds me, I ended up speaking to Riley, and I'm going to end it now, okay? Because it's already long enough. I think I got my point across. I'm just trying to prepare my kids so that they don't get blindsided, because they're not fully aware. They don't mean to take it for granted that mom's okay and she's functional and we've got time, and yeah, we do, right? For whatever strange reason, my eye doctor seems to think I'll be looking around and seeing things for quite a long time, but I don't know. We'll see. Whereas Andre's more on the ball, I guess you could say, because he's with me every day and he knows how I struggle with it, right? So, and the same thing with Tisha. Mom looks fine. She's moving around. She's getting things done slowly but surely. She's managing. Everything must be fine. Well, yeah, until it all comes crashing down, and then what you gonna do? I'd like to know. Better yet, I'd like to be a part of that process where I feel safe, right? And at least be somewhat productive to some degree or another. I mean, I'm not that old yet. That's the sad part of it. I'm 63 years old and I'm going blind. Like, I don't know. It doesn't, to me, there's no rhyme or reason to it. Other than I feel like I got set up. But then this is British Columbia, Canada, so why wouldn't I be surprised? I'm not surprised. Oh yeah, so anyway, my oldest son called me. And hooked me up with a founding board director, Riley. That's what's left. Riley with Big Jaw Love Sound, who did a lot of the DJing with me, right? I get on the phone with Riley and I'm like, oh, right? He didn't know about Shmay and Sierra and whatever, and I haven't done anything in the community for quite a long time. How could I? Just as fast as I was recuperating from Andre being illegally apprehended, starting to feel good about life when I got him back, what happened? They took John, sabotaged the family and just whatever, and then Shemaine got murdered, and then Sierra got lured to her death, and I mean, like, it's hard to go out and do park events and do anything in the community, people, when it's back to back to back to back. Like, how many times do you have to be whacked out? It's amazing we're even still alive, standing. Anyway, I said, Riley, I said, do you want to do a park event? He goes, what? Heavy accent, right? Jamaican, right? I said, do you want to do a park event? Yeah, yes. I want to do, keep it simple, right? Mama Lynn? Simple. I said, yeah, we'll just keep it. I said, do you still have your DJ equipment? He goes, yeah. I said, so you really want to do a park event? Yeah, we'll keep it simple. We'll just, Yeah. So he's thinking sometime in August on a Sunday. Because he works, right? So I have to phone the city, make inquiries, because all my paperwork's all mixed up in terms of I don't know where everything is at this point because, I did all that court crap with Uncle John and then filed in that other one and, I'm doing food prep and just can't see that well. And so, but I mean, like, they should have a file on me from back in the day. I'm sure all I have to do is just call them up and give them my society number and it shouldn't be a problem to locate my file. And then they'll, I'll just have to go pick up the paperwork to get a license, to license it out for the day, right? I don't know how much that costs anymore. I don't think it's that expensive. What is expensive is the park insurance. But I'm pretty sure Riley will chip in for that, right? Otherwise, I'll have to pay for it myself. And I still have a couple canopies. I said, all I have is one table left, Riley. I said, you got tables? He goes, no, I only have one. So we lost all our tables along the way, but that's okay. And I still have flags, although I have to go digging for them. And I just purchased a Uganda flag, right? So if we do the park, if I can manage to do all the paperwork, get the insurance and everything, then yeah, I'm going to be hanging the Uganda flag. And then I suggested to Lady Jane, maybe we can do a live stream or something where, the two of us talking while I'm doing the park event, right? And then maybe invite Tisha's church to come. Just whatever, right? For old time's sake. Because, Andre sees me on the computer. What is that? What are you doing now? And I said, well, I used to do, I wish I was there. I said, yeah, well, you were, but you were little, right? I've been out of commission for a while now. So, okay. So I'm working on that. I don't know how far I'll get with it. I'm going to start next week making phone calls. And then, one of my board directors walked off with my freaking certificates. I've been trying to get him back. I mean, he's playing dumb. Like, completely fucking dumb on it. And I don't understand it because a long time ago, he told me a couple years ago, because I get busy with things, right, people? And I was doing the court and stuff. I wasn't thinking about nonprofit and none of that crap, right? I just do the bare bones minimum to keep it alive, right? Because, just do. That's that. Being financially illiterate that my son resents in me. But besides that point, he acting like he don't even fucking know me. And I'm like, what the hell? You told me you had those things in a safe place. Whatever. We'll see. I'm not worried about it. Dumb. I could say some really mean things about that shit, but I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to stay quiet on it. That's for sure. Maybe I just caught him off guard in terms of, I don't know. Because if he threw them out, he had absolutely... That's the board director that took them because he wanted to go get $2 million for the foundation. Have video on that, people. He never did get the $2 million, and he never gave me back my certificates. He was supposed to bring them by, and I told him, well, I'm kind of busy right now, just, whatever, right? We'll get to it. But, like, fuck, if he threw them out, I'll be so mad because he had no right to throw them out. No. Absolutely none. before he threw them out, he should have brought them here and just say, hey, Judy, you know, like, whatever, I'm cut, whatever. Wouldn't do that. I feel like I'm being sabotaged all the way around with it. But I haven't been in touch with them for a while, right? So we'll just have to leave it at that, I suppose. Welcome to the new Congo. So, other than that, I have a little mini Albert Einstein in the house that nobody really appreciates, considering that Albert Einstein didn't really care much about money in terms of self-worth when the rubber met the road.